Hello, Secretary. This is Mrs. Suduma. Have you forwarded the agenda? Hello. Can anybody speak to me here? Caleb? Simon? Caleb, Simon, can anybody speak? Have you forwarded the agenda?
I cannot this one. Is it on? Is it on? Hi. Can you hear me? Can you hear? Can he hear? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We're at this event this morning. Zara, Kimu, Kimu, Kimu. Azamanki. Can you hear me? Huh? Is it? Testing, 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 testing microphone, testing. Testing microphone. Is this for us? Ekene, is this for us? I can hear myself. It's that loud.
Hello, good morning. We are the Nigerian Internet Governance Forum. Can you hear me, Winnie? Okay, can you hear me from this distance? Clearly. Yeah, very clear. Okay, good. Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me now? I'll increase the volume. Increase one of those volumes there. The one to the right, the volume. The one to your right. No, the last one. Can you hear me better now? It has improved.
main microphone, so we don't need this here. Huh? Yes. Hello. This is the main. Okay. Hello. Good morning. Imran, can you hear me? You can't hear me. Hello. Good morning. You can hear me. Okay. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start in the next few minutes. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Nigerian Communications Commission. Testing, testing. Can you hear me? I should talk now. You can hear me. Wait a second. Wait a second.
All right.
Second. Second. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to the first virtual Nigerian Internet Governance Forum. We're going to start right away, but first, let me kindly invite us to please rise for the national anthem. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's follow thee. To serve our father's land, with love and strength and faith. Live of our heroes, but shall never be vain. To serve strength and fight, and live to freedom, peace and unity. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Today is a beautiful day, and we're happy to be here and alive. And for those of you who are watching us virtually, we want to say welcome. And those who are here, we say welcome. But let me kindly introduce the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, Mr. Stephanos Musa. You're welcome. Also present here today is the erudite professor, the Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, who is a professor of engineering and a fellow of many, many organizations. Sir, you are welcome. Also present here today is the representative of the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIGF, Dr. Vincent Olatunji. Sir, you're welcome. Directors of parastatals and agencies present here, and those who are virtually present, we say welcome. Welcome to this first Nigeria Internet Governance Forum. Indeed, the internet is the future of mankind. A few days ago, I was having a conversation with my daughter, and I said to her, in the late 70s and early 80s, television was just for a few hours. At 12 midnight, the stations will close after the late night news. And she said, how did you people manage then? I said, we didn't know anything else. And so we managed. And she said she was lucky to be born in this generation. And I'm lucky to be part of this generation as well, because I see the value of the internet. And I also believe strongly that the conversation and the dialogue to make sure the internet is properly governed and safe cannot be overemphasized. And that's why we're here today to talk about so many issues regarding internet governance. So welcome once again. I will start with, I cannot see those who are virtually present, so I can acknowledge them. But if you can hear me, you are welcome to these occasions. Perhaps as we proceed, we'll get to know those who are present virtually and we can recognize them. But as people come, we will recognize you. So we're going to start right away. I think we're on time. First, I want to invite Professor Umagaba Dambata, Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, who will give us the opening remarks. Sir, you're welcome. Please join me to welcome him.
The Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, heavily represented at this time by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. Directors of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, directors of the Nigerian Communications Commission and other parastatals under the ministry, namely the National Information Development Agency, NIGF, from the NIGF, from the Galaxy Backbone Limited, as well as directors from the NIPOST, Nigerian Postal Services. Members of the press, Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if there are other members of staff from the parastatals below the rank of directors, meaning deputy directors, assistant directors, principal managers, as well as senior managers, this recognition of the protocol extends to all of you, and therefore you're welcome to this important event. As you can see, the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum. Today's event, the 9th edition of the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum 2020, organized by the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum multi-stakeholder advisory group, led or driven by the Nigerian Communications Commission, is a celebration of the Nigerian Internet Governance Forum's dedication to promote the internet as a tool for personal and national development. It also provides an opportunity for stakeholders to actively participate and make contributions on the development and governance of the internet in Nigeria. The theme of the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum 2020 is achieving inclusive digital economic development in the COVID-19 era, with substance in the areas of data sovereignty and monetization, cybersecurity and trust, digital empowerment, and emerging issues and technologies. The main plenary session and a high-level panel will look at the overarching theme of the 2020 to 2030 digital economy policy and strategy plan. As you are aware, ladies and gentlemen, the internet remains one of the most important and critical resources in the 21st century. Subsequently, it has become an essential part of our daily activities, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has turned our world upside down, causing tragic losses of life and disrupting our social and economic order, which prompted this year's edition to be conducted virtually. And I need to acknowledge members of this important forum who are participating virtually at this forum. We've not seen any of them. Perhaps in due course, a small snapshot will be given about those who are participating virtually. Due to the decentralized nature of the internet, no single centralized authority governs internet management. Instead, the internet is governed using a decentralized collaborative model of multi-stakeholder approach. Reminds me about the current trend all over the world. In the digital age or in the information society age, we do not talk about centralization. We talk about decentralized integration. Due to the decentralized forum, the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum was therefore established in 2012 as a multi-stakeholder forum made up of representatives of the government, private sector, civil society, academia, as well as the technical community, and the non-technical community, of course. The idea behind the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum was to develop and consolidate Nigeria's position in the global internet governance process and to debate from a local perspective. In line with Internet Governance Forum practice, this year's Nigerian Internet Governance Forum 2020 was preceded by the Youth Nigeria Internet Governance Forum, which held as a pre-event yesterday, September 23rd, 2020. In addition to this pre-event, there is the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum, which also hosted the Women Nigeria Internet Governance Forum as another pre-event in parallel with the first one that I mentioned. The Nigeria Internet Governance Forum 2020 will focus on engaging the multi-stakeholder nature of the forum to harness and aggregate productive ideas, best practices, and experiences towards facilitating the national digital economy policy and strategy currently pursued by the Nigerian government under the variable supervision of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy vis-a-vis the current pandemic and beyond. The outcome is expected to build consensus among stakeholders on actionable recommendations for both state and non-state actors in the internet ecosystem. The Nigeria Internet Governance Forum has the power to encourage opinions, suggest best practices, and shape discussions that can influence Nigeria's internet policies and decisions of those that have the power to drive the required policies. Out of this forum will be published on the Nigeria Governance Forum website, and it would also be shared with academia, civil society, and all its stakeholders for adoption and implementation as it applies to them. Without further ado, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let me once again welcome all participants to the 9th edition of the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum, tagged NIGF 2020. And I encourage all present to actively participate and contribute through discussions and sessions. I thank you all and wish you the best in all your deliberations. Thank you very much. That's it. Thank you. Good.
Please put your hands together one more time for the Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission. Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, we are here to dialogue and come up with a consensus on the way forward with regards to internet governance. Thank you very much, sir. May I kindly also invite the representative of the Director General, NIGF, Dr. Vincent Olatunji, to come forward and give his goodwill address. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, ably represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mr. Mukto, the PBC of NCC, Professor Umar Gambata, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me start by apologizing on behalf of the Director General, Mr. Kashifu Inuwa, who would have loved to be here personally to be part of this event this morning, but is currently attending another national event. And he has directed that I send his apologies to this meeting and to say that it is not out of disrespect that is not here, but because of another higher national call. When the MC introduced Prof, he said, erudite Prof. I'm not a professor. So at times for people like us, it's very difficult to speak after a professor. More importantly, that he has covered all the things that we need to say as remarks. But if I had my ways, I just say that Prof has spoken on behalf of all of us, and I'll go and sit down. But I think it is really important to put things in proper perspective. Again, when the MC was doing her intro, she said she told her daughter that the internet is the future of things. In my own view, I would say the internet is the reality, the current reality. More importantly, with the COVID-19 pandemic and all things associated with it, death, sicknesses, loss of economy, loss of jobs, and so many things. The internet is very important to human endeavors, that there is hardly anything you can do or anything you can achieve without the application of ICT. And the internet is the foundation of ICT. And with the pandemic, working remotely has become the norm globally. Either you are in the developing countries, developed countries, you're in the private sector, public sector, you're running your businesses, you don't have any choice than to use the internet to deliver your services now. Most government organizations went to sleep during the pandemic. But for those of us in this sector, we knew then that we didn't have any choice than to effectively improve on what we were doing before. And that was why we kept the offices running. And most government offices that they don't have any choice than to key in as part of it. And there are so many reforms that are already taking place in the public sector. For instance, the legislation of the ministry, the launch of the National Digital Strategy and Policy, and a lot of other activities. In fact, very soon, the policy is coming out from the office of the head of service to formally approve and recommend virtual meetings, virtual conferences, virtual workshops for all government officials in the country. So we don't have a choice than to key into what this pandemic has brought to the world. I see it, a lot of people see it as a major calamity. I see it as a major advantage for this sector. In fact, when other sectors were losing money, this sector was making money. The Zoom, the Google Hangouts, all of that media platforms that we're using for meetings, for workshops, for conferences, for even interacting in offices. So I see it as a big blessing for us in this country. Now, what we're preaching all this while, that we should move government businesses online. That's the area of e-governance. That has become a reality now. That we don't have any choice. That for government to deliver on services and mandates online. How can you do that without appropriate internet governance? That is why what we are doing here today is very apt and important to us as a country. We are rejoining towards the national digital economy. How do we survive post-COVID-19? So what we are doing here today is very important. And I believe with the caliber of stakeholders that will be participating, I've gone through the agenda. I know we'll be able to come out with something very concrete for this country. Yes, it's a new era. Then government needs to wake up, do a lot of the right policies that will drive whatever we are doing. How about infrastructure? What is the level of infrastructure deployment that we have in the public sector? Can it really carry the weight that is expected when MGAs, when private sector organizations fully commit to use the internet? We need to address this. How about human capital, especially in the public sector? Do you have enough human capital to really drive what we are looking at? These are issues that we need to look into. Then regulation. How do you use the internet to regulate to develop, which is really key. So I'm sure by the time we put all this into perspective, and with the kind of people that we're talking today, we'll be able to have very strong positions as a country. Yes, we are developing, but one thing about the internet, one thing about the ICT is that whatever happens in any part of the world should be the same. It's like a level playing ground that's broken down the barrier of time, the barrier of development, the barrier of distance, the barrier of everything. So we don't have any choice that we key into what is happening globally. And we look at the best global practices all over the world for us to effectively play a role in the global digital economy. And I believe what we are doing here today, the journey we started, will continue and be able to achieve desired success. Thank you very much. Welcome you, and I wish us a very successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olatunji. Indeed, the internet is our reality, but it's also the future of mankind, because ears have not heard, eyes have not seen what the internet holds for a generation yet unborn. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together one more time for Dr. Olatunji. Thank you very much. The next speaker is, I don't think he's physically present. I guess we're going to connect with him. He's Mr. Gbenga Adebayo, Chairman, Association of Licensed Telecom Operators of Nigeria, ALTEN. Sir, are you there? Mr. Gbenga Adebayo, can you hear me? Mr. Adebayo of ALTEN, if you can hear me, it's time for you to give your goodwill address. Okay, while we are waiting for him to connect, let's have Engineer Ike Chukwunamani, First Vice President, Association of Telecommunications Companies of Nigeria, ATCON.
Good morning, everybody.
Namani, are you there?
I'm here.
You're here. Okay, thank you very much. Please take it away.
On behalf of the Association of Telecom Operating Companies of Nigeria, we wish to fully support this event. We are delighted by the subject matter, which is achieving inclusive digital economic development in the post-COVID world. As has been highlighted by the previous speakers, we are fully aware that we now live in a digital age. What we plan to be implemented over the next 5 years, we are now being forced to implement it within this year because of the advent of COVID. And as we all know, the Association of Telecom Operating Companies, which is over 160 member association, this is the area we play, and we are fully aligned with this vision. We are fully committed, and we definitely look forward to participation with the Nigeria Internet Governance Group in terms of moving the country forward. Once more, we just want to appreciate the event. We want to commit to fully participate through our members that are already online. A lot of us are already online, and a lot of us will be part of the various panels that will be taking place today. So we definitely support this event, and that's all we want to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Namani. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you very much. We want to have Harriet Esther Hussein, Chairperson, Internet Governance Forum, Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group. I think you are present virtually. Can we have you, please? Can you hear me? Harriet Esther Hussein. Esther Hussein. I hope I called that well. Can you hear me? Chairperson, Internet Governance Forum, Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group. Okay.
She's trying to a pre-recorded video, and we'll be playing it now.
Are they coming on? Mr. Gbenga Adebayo of Alton. Okay. Harriet Esther Hussein, are you there? Okay. We have to get back to them. We want to proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you once again, and also welcome virtually the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, who is a fellow on many fronts. He's not here with us right now, but I think he's on. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. All right, we are going to wait a little bit. We'll have the minister. I hear the minister is going to be here physically to be with us. That's wonderful. And in the meantime, give me a few minutes. I'll be back. While we wait for the minister, we'll go ahead to the plenary now. When it comes, we will proceed to have his keynote address. In the meantime, the first session, I think we have to go to the sessions right now. That's what's going to happen right away. The first session we have today is let's have my number 2. The first session is going to be moderated. The first plenary session is going to be moderated by Mr. Emmanuel Edet of NIGF. Is he present? Mr. Emmanuel, you're here. Okay, you're welcome, sir. You are the moderator of this session. I'm going to invite you right away to please come forward. Let's start the plenary session. Please can you come forward and give us the introduction?
Thank you very much. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, representing the Honorable Minister, the EVC, NCC, the representative of the Director General of NIGF, National Information Technology Development Agency, other participants here and online. You're welcome to this session. This is the main plenary, and we are going to discuss the main theme of this particular virtual NIGF. As we are all aware, COVID-19 has created a lot of opportunities as well as provided a lot of challenges to activities that actually entail physical meetings. And so the need to lock down and have social distancing has slowed down a lot of other activities. However, it has also provided opportunities for us to explore the use of digital facilities to, would I say, cover up for all the other activities that we are supposed to carry out on a daily basis. This panel is expected to explore the possibility of digital inclusion and carrying along everyone as far as the use of digital facilities are concerned. So it's the overarching plenary session that deals with achieving inclusive digital economic development. My name is Emmanuel Edet. I work with the National Information Technology Development Agency. On this panel, we have 4 wonderful persons who are going to explore all these and give us their opinion on the various issues of this theme. First of all, I'd like to introduce the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, Mr. Estefanos Musamak Factor, who is one of our panelists. You're welcome, sir. Also on this panel is Honorable Abubakar Lado Suleja. Honorable Lado is currently the Honorable in the National Assembly, and he's the chairman of the House Committee on Information and Communication Technology. A round of applause for him as well. Also on this panel is one of the great, should I call her an Amazon in the ICT industry, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Main One Company, Funke Opeke. A round of applause for her, please. And also Tolu Ogunlesi is in the Presidency Office of Digital Engagement. Tolu, you're welcome, please. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much. Would like to start first with the introductory remarks from the members of the panel. And I will humbly invite the Permanent Secretary to give us his introductory remarks on the area of digital inclusion, especially dealing with economic development. Thank you very much.
Will join us shortly, and so he does not need to be represented. I also would like to stand on the existing protocols because I'm not a protocols person, really. However, I would like to appreciate the Nigerian Internet Governors Forum and to say that I agree with this team achieving inclusive digital economic development in the post-COVID-19 era. I think this is the correct thing to do at this moment. Let me also say that the ministry and all its agencies are working in synergy to support a forum like this. And to prove that we are working together with you, the ministry has created the enabling environment for public and private partnership by launching the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy 2020 to 2030, the roadmap for the implementation of the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy, and the development and launch of the National Broadband Plan 2020-2025. I think that with what COVID has done now, it will appear that 120 million Nigerians are being excluded from activities that have been happening for the past 6 months. If we agree that we only have 42% penetration, that means it's only about 84 million Nigerians that are actually covered. 120 million Nigerians is more than the population of Ghana and South Africa combined. And so you understand why this forum is up at this moment. It is for this reason that the ministry has no choice than to work hand in hand with the private sector. Let me wish all of the people that are invited to speak here to put these two issues at the top point of their discussions. That is that the ministry will always support you all the way, and two, that more than half of Nigerian population are being excluded. So what is it that we need to do in order to ensure that we cover the whole country? These are the two issues that I would like to bring up by way of opening remarks at this session. And I would like to also say that if it is possible, the Human Rights Commission should consider elevating the access to internet as part of human rights issues. Why do I say so? Because I think the village man that does not understand the issues that we are raising here now deserve to know that if there is pollution or disaster in any part of the country, such as this pandemic that is happening now, they should be educated in advance so that they will know how to take care of themselves. These are the issues I want it to form the boner in these discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The next speaker I would like to invite is Honorable Abubakar Lado Suleja. I don't know if he's online. Okay, all right. Before we get to Tolu, we would like to invite Funke Okweke to just give us her introductory remarks in this particular area.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, representative of the Honorable Minister of Communications, the EVC of the NCC, Professor Umaru Dambata, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Communications, the Director Generals of the various parastatals, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Me a minute, please, to remove the background. Thank you. In November 2019, President Muhammad Buhari launched the Digital Economy Policy and Strategy that was put together by the newly created Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. Of course, the Ministry of Communications previously existed, but in October, the president, as if he was saying ahead of what 2020 was going to bring, highlighted the increasing role of the digital economy to the nation and assigned that responsibility to the Ministry of Communications. In November, I was privileged to be in the audience when he launched the strategy for the digital economy in Abuja. Subsequent to that, we had a national broadband plan established because it was recognized in the digital economy strategy that infrastructure, solid infrastructure, service infrastructure, soft infrastructure were critical pillars to ensure the achievement of the digital economy and, of course, inclusiveness for all Nigerians. And in order to get broadband services to more Nigerians and give Nigerians the opportunity to participate in the digital economy, they needed to have enhanced broadband access to the internet. And so the National Broadband Plan Committee was put together in December of 2019, and the National Broadband Plan for 2020 to 2025 was launched by Mr. President in March, just before we all had to go into lockdown for the pandemic. I think given where we are today, this really were strategic actions that the nation has put in place to have a roadmap in terms of what needs to be done, not recognizing, even at the time those plans were being put together, that they're going to be more critical to our future than we earlier anticipated. What are we seeing? Of course, we see continued growth and criticality of ICT in general to our economy. And based on the numbers from the National Bureau of Statistics, ICT contribution in the Nigerian economy grew from 15.1% to 17.87% in the second quarter of this year. So even in the midst of the COVID pandemic, as we have all rushed to work from home, education has moved online, where people are privileged to have access. In other areas, people have had to suspend schooling or education, healthcare. Again, a lot of services being delivered online as people could not move around or travel. We've seen growth in traffic. We've seen growth in applications like Zoom, like, of course, virtual conferences and virtual events. And we've seen a lot of nations also move to implement national self-sufficiency. So taking care of their interests, their citizens, their resources first, ahead of other countries. So where does that put us? I think it just reinforces the need for these plans that were put in place to be put into action. And the good news is we're starting to see those things happen, and those should benefit broadband access and indeed access to the internet, which we are here talking about today. So one is several states of the Federation have reduced the right of way or totally abolished the right of way in line with the recommendations of the federal government and the work that has been done by the NCC in recent years to advocate for that statutory rate. And we're starting to see state governments sign up and adopt that, which will significantly lower the cost of building infrastructure. We're also starting to see more healthy competition for data tariffs, as of course, as the demand for data continues to surge. The challenge we have is that the networks still need a lot more infrastructure. One, to improve access around the country, to increase the availability of 4G services. And so there's a lot of work to be done. I think that's really where the challenge lies. Of course, a lot of this money has to be provided by the private sector. And given the current economic situation, it is a difficult time for private sector to invest. So I think in terms of internet access, in terms of inclusive internet for all parts of the country, clearly there is a divide between our urban high net worth areas and rural areas, secondary cities of the country. And I think continued collaboration between the public sector, between government and private sector is going to be required for us to achieve these goals of more inclusive internet. I believe internet access as a human right is indeed the right direction to go when we look at the size of our youth population. But beyond just stating that it is a right, how we work together to ensure that we can actually deliver on that promise, I think is going to take collaboration of all of us. I wish the conference organizers and all of us participants fruitful deliberations today as to how we can further the cause of getting internet good quality at an affordable price to all Nigerians. Thank you very much.
Speaker on this panel, Mr. Tolu Ogunlesi, who is of the Presidency Office for Digital Engagement, to give us his opening remarks. Tolu, you're on, please.
Good morning. Good morning, all. I will stand on existing protocol. And it's a pleasure to be here at the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum, to share some of my thoughts on the digital economy. And I will start by sharing something. A few weeks ago, I tweeted about how just how transformative WhatsApp has been. WhatsApp as a platform for small businesses in Nigeria, and I tweeted that from personal experience. How you would, how easy it is to do business with people. So you are online looking to buy something, whatever it is, some piece of furniture, some piece of clothing or something, and very seamlessly on WhatsApp, you can basically just engage with any business, sort out all your transaction. And I remember, asking, or wondering when it would be possible to actually make in-app payments in WhatsApp, which would mean that, as a platform, for example, you can basically just completely use a single platform to for business. And my mind just went back to the days before the internet, before social media, and you just wonder how did small businesses do it? How did a vendor, a furniture vendor in Abeokuta or Ibadan or somewhere in Kebbi, how did they get customers? How did they find customers? How did they do business? How did they communicate with their potential customers? And it's almost impossible now to imagine how we lived life before the internet, before these tools, before digital technologies came and completely just changed the game. And so for me, I'm very keenly aware of just how powerful the digital economy is. The immense amount of opportunities that the fact that people can at low cost or no cost, set up a side business while still maintaining a full-time job, and basically set up a side business on Instagram, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, or whatever, or some other platform, and basically just, the full implications. I'm not sure we've realized the full implications of this, and so it's the whole talk about internet being a fundamental human right. In 2020, I think it's come to stay. There's no doubt that governments, of course, so the internet obviously belongs in the same class as healthcare, as education, as access to justice, and all of those things that we have come to assume are fundamental to human existence. I know that there's some study that actually that has found a direct connection between internet penetration and GDP. That there's an actual direct connection between the percentage of people in a country that have access to the internet or to broadband internet and GDP growth. And so these are the things we have to continue to play up. I'm glad that governments in Nigeria are starting to understand the importance of digital economy, which is why, of course, we have this national digital economy policy and strategy, which is why we have the ministry, which has come to see digital economy as a central part of its mandate. All of the conversation about right of way costs for internet infrastructure nationwide, where there now seems to be some kind of competition among states to offer the cheapest services. I know the federal government also has abolished, at least until I think end of next year, or 2021 or 2022, right of way fees for federal highways. So I'm super excited by the fact that governments are starting to see that, to see how important the digital economy is, and are starting to make those short-term sacrifices, like foregoing fees or costs for people who want to lay fiber optic cables and all that, foregoing the short-term in favor of long-term investment, because the long-term investment clearly is what we're all here for. That's what is going to give us the transformational impact that we're actually looking for. The second thing I want to say is about digital literacy and skills, which is the second pillar of the National Digital Economy Policy 2020 to 2030, and how we cannot overemphasize the importance of digital literacy nationwide, because it has so many implications. So first is even just digital literacy, getting people familiar with being able to use the internet, getting people familiar with being able to use, you know, mobile phones and access the internet and find their way on the internet. But even more importantly, it's about, you know, the cybercrime and of course fake news and misinformation. At the bottom, of course, of a lot of the issues that Nigeria and many other countries have with fake news, with disinformation, with cybercrime, is basic digital literacy. The fact that people just are not aware of some of the basic foundational elements of being online. You know, the fact that your PIN must never be given. I know that there's an NGO that has done some work around that, you know, where they went out into the streets to ask people for their PINs, their banking passwords and PINs. And for many people, it did not occur to many people that those numbers are not meant to be available to the public. I know, you know, we all know people who write their PINs on their ATM cards. You know, so that's the mentality out there. So digital literacy is such basic things as knowing that your PIN, your financial information, is not meant for anybody but yourself. You know, it's about even knowing about things like two-factor authentication for WhatsApp or for your social media platforms. I think that, you know, that second pillar, I don't think we've started to give it the attention that it needs and deserves in Nigeria. And that's why we're seeing a lot of issues around, you know, fake news, where people can share videos that are not authentic. You know, so I hope that over the course of this forum, there will be more conversation about how we can just get a national campaign going about digital literacy. When you get sent a video, when you get sent a photo, this is how you can check, this is how you can confirm news, that kind of thing. So those are the 2 points that I wanted to make. Let me again just commend the organizers of this event, and I wish you all successful deliberations. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tolu. We appreciate you for joining us as well. And I would like to cross-check and confirm if Honorable Suleja is available online now.
He's not available. Thank you. The Honorable is not available online.
To us, just simply type your questions into the chat box and we'll try and collate them. And please, if you're asking questions, just make sure you actually put the name of the specific person you like to answer the question. And if it's a general question, just indicate also. So we have heard a lot concerning digital economy, the steps that government has taken to ensure that we put in a proper framework, both legal and institutional, to make sure that there is inclusive development as far as digital economy is concerned. But we have also noticed that in spite of the fact that we are seeing business models growing up on the internet, there are still inequalities, especially in the area of access. And there are also a lot of other issues such as security and trust There's the issue of data sovereignty. All of these combined together to actually create some of the challenges that we find in trying to have an inclusive development as far as digital economy is concerned. I would like to direct a question to Funke Opeke. And the question is this, Ma. What is your position on data sovereignty? We've had issues around personal data residing outside the country, government data residing outside the country. So at the backdrop of cloud computing, what is your opinion on data sovereignty? Funke Opeke, please.
Thank you very much. My position on data sovereignty is that ultimately, as a country, it is in our interest to move towards national self-sufficiency. We see today where we talk about agricultural self-sufficiency and food self-sufficiency. In the future, and maybe that future is even coming upon us now, we are seeing how data and digitalization is critical to all facets of human existence. I think we've also seen, just based on activities on the global scene, be it in the US, China. I was reading just last night, I think India during this COVID era has also put in place a national self-sufficiency agenda. That national self-sufficiency is something of importance to sovereign states. And the issues of data and data ownership and control is going to be increasingly important in the future. So where we are not there today, I think it requires a concerted strategy that government needs to put in place. There are lots of issues and of course risks and consequences and challenges because we are still largely technology consumers, not producers. To develop the capacity so we can truly deploy the applications and have our data reside locally, or create the environment for the global players not just to have a commercial presence, but to have investments and infrastructure that create jobs and are subject to the laws and regulations of Nigeria, as opposed to being governed by their own countries. We see what's going on with TikTok in the US currently, where the US government is saying ownership by a Chinese company means that US data will be the Chinese government will have access to data from US citizens. And so as a result, the ownership of the application has to change. So my view on data domiciliation or data residency is that the NDPR starts to lay down some requirements, but we need to go Nigeria as a nation state for its economic and security interests long-term, will need to walk to a position where we have more data domiciliation and data residency. And perhaps someday we can actually try to enforce that because we have the capacity in country to deliver on that promise. You're on mute, please.
I'll invite the moderator to come up, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edet. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, we want to welcome the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, fellow Nigerian Computer Society, fellow British Computer Society, and fellow Institute of Information Management. Honorable Minister, sir, you're welcome. We also have with us the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Mr. Inua Kashifu Abdullahi. Sir, you're welcome. I will go ahead now. We have, before we invite the Minister to come forward, we have a recorded message from Harriet Esuhasan. Please, can we have that? Are we ready to quickly have that before the Minister comes forward? The recorded message from Harriet, I understand we have it. Yes, please, can you play it quickly? Okay. Are you sure that can go? If not, we have to proceed.
Wait. There's no problem. Sit down, all of you, please. My colleague, the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, Mr. Musa Estefano, the Executive Vice Chairman of Nigerian Communications Commission, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Kashifu Inua Abdullahi, the Director E-Government of the National Information Technology Development Agency, my friend and brother, Dr. Vincent Olatunji, other directors from the ministry and the parastatals, other CEOs on the virtual platform joining the event, all other stakeholders here present with us either physically or virtually, ladies and gentlemen of the press, all other protocols duly and respectfully observed. Good afternoon, and may peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you. Firstly, I begin by apologizing to you for my inability to be here by 11 a.m. It was due to another presidential assignment given to us under another committee. So I had to attend the event, and after completing that assignment, I rushed in order to attend this event physically. And I do hope that my apology has been accepted. Secondly, I'm also excited to be part of this Nigeria Nigeria Internet Governance Forum here, which I think is a very important event looking at the theme of the discussion, achieving the digital economic development in the post-COVID-19 era. However, I think it is more important to discuss during COVID-19 era because only Almighty knows when we are going to live without COVID anymore. We are very optimistic and we are prayerful. However, we need to focus more on what we can do and achieve during the COVID than even after, because the COVID era is what we are witnessing today. As they say, is the new normal. And it is because of this, our emphasis will focus more on how to utilize the period, this era of COVID-19, and fast-track the implementation, or rather achieving our digital economic development. Furthermore, as I earlier commended the forum and also the topic with just a minor amendment as I suggested, the topic still is very apt, particularly as I have been saying that COVID-19 pandemic is a pandemic in the real sense of the word. And it has completely changed the world. It has disrupted our activities in many ways. And we lost our beloved ones in our villages, our states, in our country, and even globally. A situation where your beloved one passes on, you can hardly commend that situation or be happy with it. However, there are positive things we are to learn from COVID-19. Most importantly, it is a time for us to fast-track the implementation of our digital economy in Nigeria. Most importantly, broadband becomes necessary today. Secondly, most of our activities are being conducted virtually today. People that were struggling to understand how important ICT was just a year ago, today they are so much inclined and addicted to ICT. Why? Because of their health condition. It is because of this, it could be a blessing in some ways, because we are compelled to fast-track the implementation of our digital economy agenda. Historically, you could recall that Mr. President has approved the expansion of the mandate of our Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, and by extension, the mandate of the parastatals dealing with ICT. That was as a result of our request we forwarded to him, and he approved the request on 17 October 2019. That is by accommodating digital economy rather than just ICT, which is obsolete today. That was presented before the Federal Executive Council on 23rd October 2019. And we were mandated as well by Mr. President to immediately come up with national digital economy policy and strategy. We achieved that collectively. And Mr. President was very kind enough to us. He attended our event at the International Conference Center on 29th of November 2019, where he personally unveiled and launched our national digital economy policy and strategy for a digital Nigeria 2020 to 2030. Our initial plan was to achieve digital Nigeria within 10 years, but with COVID-19, most probably that could be achieved in the next 5 or 6 years. By having the policy in place, we have done one part of it. The remaining part is the implementation. And I'm glad to say that after approving the policy, we restructured the ministry, and we have been restructuring the ministry. And we also mandated the relevant parastatals that have a key role to play in digital economy, NCC, NIDA, and others, to immediately establish a department that will focus more on digital economy. That has been achieved in all the parastatals, because they will play the key role of implementing the policy. Our own role is largely more of supervision and policy direction after producing the policy. So it is their responsibility to do that, which has already been achieved. And if you look at the activities of the ministry and the parastatals, you will see they are in line with the digital economy. And we are making progress a lot. Furthermore, as part of the implementation of digital economy, we also have our national broadband plan in place, 2020-2025, which is specifically on broadband penetration. The last time I contacted my colleagues, the report of broadband penetration of August 2020 was not ready, but I don't know whether it is ready now. But if we look into it, by end of July, we have achieved 42.02% of broadband penetration. In less than a year, we will be able to achieve at least 50% in our country, which is highly commendable. The broadband penetration of only 1 year now, starting from August this year to August last year, could be approximately 10%. Contrary to the previous years where broadband penetration averagely is 1.7% annually. So this is a clear indication that if that 10% can be achieved within a year, then it is also highly commendable. In addition, if we look at the contribution of ICT sector alone, and I have been saying this just as an independent sector, not digital economy sector, as an independent sector, the contribution of ICT to GDP by the end of last month was up to 17, in the second quarter, sorry, which is April, May, June, is up to 17 point something percent. This is only standalone ICT sector. And telecommunication sector grew up by more than 18% within the second quarter. Why I say ICT alone? Because there is a line of demarcation between ICT sector contribution to GDP and digital economy contribution to GDP. If it is ICT sector, it is only the standalone, what comes through only ICT. But if you say digital economy, is the ICT sector plus all the digital services that have been provided in the country. So by implication, if you look at the contribution of financial institutions to GDP during the second quarter, you will discover more than 90% is under digital economy. Because all the activities being conducted through ATM, online purchase, e-commerce, online money transfer, whatever you conduct on virtual and digital platforms will be part and parcel of a digital economy. May not be part of ICT sector, but is part of digital economy. So by implication, a minimum of 90% of the financial institutions is under that, because most of the activities during lockdown were conducted virtually. That is why I presented that argument before the Federal Executive Council last week during our meeting, that digital economy should be computed independently in our GDP. Whenever the result will come up, they should capture digital economy, because Mr. President has started the diversification of our economy by leveraging on digital economy. When that is computed, most probably the contribution of ICT to GDP, or rather digital economy to GDP, could be more than 45%. So that is why we need to push for an independent computation to be conducted, where all the digital services being provided by the sector will be taken into consideration. So this is a clear indication that at least we are on track. And the journey so far is highly encouraging. However, there is no time for us to sleep. We need to continue to push harder. Achieving a digital economy, as I have been saying, is a collective responsibility. It's not restricted to one ministry or few parastatals. It's a responsibility of all. And that is the reason why we serve as the clearinghouse for all digital projects in the country, to ensure that they are in alignment with the national digital economy policy and other federal government policies and laws. That is the reason why we are supposed to clear each and every project before execution. Why? Because this is the role we are supposed to play, only to provide the supervision, the clearance, the guidance, and many more. But the implementation or achieving a digital economy in this country is a responsibility of all, including both in the public sector and those in the private sector. They must work together to achieve that. And as we all know, that this, as I said earlier, COVID-19 brought about why it is important to achieve that. TSA, Treasury Single Account, today is part of a digital economy. However, it was executed before the policy. Most of, like GIFMIS, IPPIs, they are part of that. The digitalization taking place in customs today, in immigration, and many other places, they are all part and parcel of our digital economy. Today, the virtual Federal Executive Council being coordinated by the ministry and powered by Galaxy is part of digital economy. The recent virtual Council of State chaired by Mr. President, they are all part and parcel of our digital economy. And we do hope that in our institutions of learning, they will soon join the trend of our digital economy. So I want to use the opportunity to thank all the stakeholders that what we have been doing so far is highly encouraging. And the achievement is not restricted to one person or one ministry or one institution. The achievement is for all. And I do hope that we will redouble our effort and ensure that in the next 1 year, more and more can be achieved. According to the US Office of Statistics, digital economy in the US created a new value of 86% in the United States of America today. Through digital economy, they have created more than 6.5 million new jobs in the US. This can be achieved even here in Nigeria, particularly if we focus more on digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. These are the two most important aspects of our digital economy: digital innovation and also digital entrepreneurship. This is another policy of the federal government that we have been working on. That is National Policy on Digital Innovation and Digital Entrepreneurship, which will focus more in areas like applications, outsourcing, and many more. When that policy is ready, we are very much sure that we will be able to create many more jobs for our citizens. So I want to finally use the opportunity to thank the stakeholders for organizing this event. And I do hope that the forum would come up with so many recommendations for federal government to consider and implement them where necessary. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Please, can you please put your hands together one more time for him? That was eloquently rendered. Thank you very much, sir. Now we're about rounding up. I'm going to invite Mr. Mohammed Rudman, President, Nigeria Internet Registration Association, NIRA, to give us the vote of thanks. Is he here physically? Is he present here? Or is he going to be speaking with us virtually? Virtually. Okay, please, can you just...
Hello, hi. Yeah, I'm here. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. You can go on. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Kindly permit me to stand on the existing protocol. It is indeed a privilege to give this special vote of thanks at this Nigeria Internet Governance Forum. On behalf of the Nigeria Internet Governance Forum Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group, I want to thank all our special guests, especially the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Fantami, our Digital Minister, for gracing this important occasion despite his busy schedule. We thank you for your presence at the virtual NIGF 2020. As usual, sir, your keynote address have enlightened us on the national digital economic agenda and the progress made so far. Thank you, sir. We say a warm thank you to Professor Garba Umar Rambata, the Executive Vice Chairman of Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, Mr. Kashif Inua Abdullahi, the Director General of National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDDA, aptly represented here by Dr. Vincent Olatunji. Mr. Musa Istefanus, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. Engineer Ekichuku Inamani, the first Vice President of the Association of Telecommunications Companies of Nigeria, ATCON. And finally, Ms. Arietta Esterhuisen, the Chairperson, Internet Governance Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group. Again, thank you all for gracing this occasion. To all the speakers who would speak later at this event, we say thank you very much for accepting our invitation. I must not forget to thank the organizers of this event. This is a team of committed individuals from different organizations that have sacrificed their time and energy to make this event happen. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Without you, couldn't be here today. And finally, to our beloved audience, thank you for making this event a huge success. Please stay online as we have a lineup of various professionals that will be speaking on topical issues, especially on technology. I say thank you all and wish all of us a fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you.
Before I invite the minister and the EDC and our guests to take some pictures, I want to let us know that we're going to have a short break and move on to the breakout sessions. And breakout sessions, we're having 4 breakout sessions. One is on data sovereignty and monetization. The other one is on cybersecurity and trust. And we also have digital empowerment as well as emerging issues and technology. So the breakout session is going to take place simultaneously for about 90 minutes. We'll be moderating from here. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, sir, may I invite us to please come forward and take pictures. Thank you very much. Okay. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please let's be seated. We will proceed with the question and answer. Can I have Mr. Emmanuel Edet please come forward? Mr. Emmanuel Edet. It's my understanding that we have the recorded speech by Areth ready. Hello, our technical people, I hear we have our recorded speech ready, right? We want to play that before we do the question and answer quickly.
Good morning, all participants and organizers of the Nigerian National IGF. My name is Henriette Esterhuisen, and I am the chairperson of the Internet Governance Forum Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group. Greetings from South Africa. As you can see, it's a sunny day here in Johannesburg. And lovely as it is here, I do wish we were all together face to face. But I think as we've learned over the past year and all the challenges that this year has brought, that we can still be together, we can still collaborate, we can still deliberate, share ideas, share problems, and develop solutions collaboratively using this online platform that you have so many of you have worked so hard to develop and strengthen and give access to Africans all over the continent too. On behalf of the IGF MAG, We want to congratulate you with convening this meeting today and the coming days. We wish you lots of success in this very relevant agenda that you've got. I'm looking at your topics as I speak. Data sovereignty and monetization. This is a very concrete challenge for us in Africa as well as elsewhere in the world. Cybersecurity and trust. Digital empowerment, which remains a huge challenge even after decades of working towards digital inclusion. We can see that, in fact, digital exclusion remains as big, if not greater, than it has been when we started this project of building a collective people-centered information society. And then emerging issues and technologies. From the global perspective, we really look forward to you sharing your insights, the outcomes of your discussions at the Global IGF, which will start on the 2nd of November and run until 17 November. The Global IGF has 4 themes this year: data, trust, overlapping very much with your themes, inclusion, which is also one that you are addressing, and the 4th one, which is a new theme for us, environment. We look forward to your participation in this Global IGF through the National, Regional IGF and Youth IGF Initiative session, but also through your individual participation from whatever stakeholder group you represent, be it government or business, civil society, or the technical community. So thank you very much for this invitation. It really has it's been an honor for us at the Global IGF to have this involvement and this participation with the regional IGFs, and particularly with your IGF. So thank you very much for including us, and I wish you all the best for your event. Goodbye and good luck.
Just to confirm, are our panelists still online?
Yes.
Okay. I understand it's only Funko Cricket that is still online. Well, the good thing is that this question is meant for her. We have several questions online, so we'll just take this one. My question, this is from Dr. Ayo Essien. My question goes to Funke Okweke. All through the years, we had seen fiber optic cable networking on major highways in Nigeria, but this had not been very rewarding as necessary regulatory law had not been put in place. It is possible to vandalize the links and not respect the right of way of these lines. This had forced most providers to use microwave mix. Going forward, is it not possible to put all these regulations in place and possibly form a multiple entry point from available Nigeria coast to generally improve the cost of delivery and subscription? I guess this question has to do with the internet and the fiber optic cabling all over the country. The question in summary says, is it not possible to put in place a regulation to ensure that this infrastructure are not tampered with by individuals? This question goes to Funko Peke, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe that the issue is already being addressed. Specifically, there is an executive order on critical national infrastructure that recognizes telecommunications infrastructure as critical national infrastructure. And Mr. President has signed the executive order and has been working. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy has been working with the respective agencies of the federal government to ensure that adequate protection is given to telecoms infrastructure. So a lot of that effort started, some of it started before the launching of the National Broadband Plan. Of course, then we've gone into this COVID era where movement has been restricted. However, I know that effort has continued in that regard. So that regulatory framework, so to speak, is being put in place.
No, the question is, what is the initiative that is put in place to handle a school located in Jegunle that has access to the internet and no one is in the computer lab, which is under lock? If we don't want the kids to because we don't want the kids to damage the computer. I guess that's about facilities being available but not being used. Anthony, I'm sure we'll get back to you on that particular question. And the second question is, why is the cost of data annoyingly expensive, and what is NCC doing about it? Anthony, unfortunately, NCC is not on this panel, so we may not be able to answer that directly, but I'm sure we'll get back to you. There's also a question here from Loveday Onyanula. He's asking, what is in the digital economy strategy that will engage youth for the purpose of development? This question was supposed to go to the permanent secretary, who is not available at the moment. We'll send an answer to you, Loveday, on that. And another question here says, is sent in by an anonymous attendee. How can the Honorable Minister help the Nigerian youth, especially those from the North, on how to use the digital space to make income for themselves? Because it seems, apart from playing politics on Facebook, they know little or nothing. Again, the question will have to wait, and we will get a direct answer as far as this is concerned. I have only one panelist left, so I'll give her an opportunity to give us some last words. Ms. Funko Kweke, please, if you have your last words, can you give us now?
No, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm not sure there's much to add. I think the Honorable Minister has spoken. The time is now. The regulator for NCC has spoken. I think from the questions that have been raised, we see that the issue is how we get broadband coverage and internet access to more Nigerians. COVID-19 has made that more urgent. I think we have an imperative to the whole industry, the government and the private sector, to pull our efforts together so that we can accelerate that. It is of critical importance to our national economy. And it's not just about the infrastructure, as we've heard, it's also about the skills, the empowerment that our youth require so that we can truly derive the benefits afforded by the access we gain to the technology. So I just wish all conference participants fruitful deliberations today, and that all of this efforts will go towards improving outcomes in terms of internet access and usage for all Nigerians. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Funke Kweke. I guess that's the end of our panel for this morning, the first panel. I'd like to appreciate every member of the panel that attended, Tolu Funke Kweke, and the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy. And if we check through our schedule, we're going to take the break now before we move into other dedicated panel sessions, the breakout sessions. Thank you very much for participating. Those online, thank you for those in the hall. And we'll take a brief break right now. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just remind us that we'll meet at 1 o'clock in the breakout sessions. 1 o'clock. Thank you. Okay. I hear various links have been posted to your emails and to the chats. So just identify which session you belong and then use that Zoom link to connect. And come back when we are done, of course. We are going to wrap it up together once we are done in the sessions. Yes, thank you very much.